Father God, guide him wherever my hands can reach. Keep him steady and his spirit strong. And whenever the road gets heavy, carry him home to me.
Young man. Young man, it's time to take a stand and come on now this life you live. It's time to assess just what life is. It's not a joke and I really hope that you understand. Young man, it's time to take a stand and come on now this life you live. It's time to assess just what life is. It's not a joke and I really hope that you understand. I can't tell you how to live, but I can't tell you how it is. When you live in life as a fugitive before you cross over the bridge into the world of badness, just know your heart free. Colder than a fridge or FECO times. Whatever you love, come on, but come and kill a granny out of birth. So if me show you these things, you still know about you. The coffin I go feature like a blood.
Hello? Hope I'm not calling too late.
No, man, you're good. What's going on?
Since him father passed, the boy drifting. Wrong crowd, and I can't reach him.
Oh, I understand.
You always have him respect. Please talk to him for me.
I will. Now worry yourself, man. I'll check him first.
Thank you. Truly.
Young man, it's time to take a stand and come on now this life you live. It's time to assess just what life is. It's not a joke and I really hope that you understand now. Young man, it's time to take a stand and come on now this life you live. It's time to assess just what life is. It's not a joke and I really hope that you understand now. It's time to assess just what life is. It's not a joke and I really hope that you understand now. All your daddy is deceased, which means you have to lock it for your peeps. Work and get some money in your pocket, help your peeps. If you're doing something wrong, you better stop it for your peeps. Or get carried in a casket by your peeps for the last couple of weeks. I know this will be you be hiding from the beast. The louder them are post up, so they wanted by police. Them catch up on our hands, them shoot first, we say the least. You all go left them boy in the ring. Young man, it's time to take a stand and come on now this life you live. It's time to assess just what life is. It's not a joke and I really hope that you understand now. Young man, it's time to take a stand and come on now this life you live. It's time to assess just what life is. It's not a joke and I really hope that you understand now. Get to it all is the life that you live. So if you don't give up, we forgive up. Oh, when the faith deliver, and a dip and blown a shiver and a gap because you kill up got the drop and you couldn't pop your strap when I lock it's not enough. So rock, result might be that if you not take control of this life you go. Young man, it's time to take a stand and command of this life you live. It's time to assess just what life is. It's not a joke and I really hope that you understand that. Young man, it's time to take a stand and command of this life you live. It's time to assess just what life is. It's not a joke and I really hope that you understand now. Young man, it's time to take a stand and command of this life you live. It's time to assess just what life is. It's not a joke and I really hope that you understand now. Young man, it's time to take a stand and command of this life you live. It's time to assess just what life is. It's not a joke and I really hope that you understand now.
All right, everybody. What's going on? It's the Chop Up Podcast. I'm your host, Big V. Shout out to my Chop Up family. Shout out to Hoffa. Shout out to Sam Toucan. Shout out to Crazy Joe. Shout out to Third World Digital. And shout out to everybody out there tuned in. If y'all don't know, that was Young Man, a new video just previously released by reggae artist FECO. Man, how you doing today?
I'm chilling, bro. I'm chilling, man. I'm in the building.
Yeah.
As we say in Jamaica, we're there. Wow, what our vibes, you know? Yeah,
For sure, for sure.
yeah.
I got questions about the young man. I got about the young man single, but I'm
Hmm.
gonna save it for a little bit later on in the interview because I peeped the message. I
I
peeped the
feel you.
message,
I feel
and
you. I
I
feel
want to
you.
see, if other people peep the message that you released in that single, man. But
Mm.
we're gonna start early for my people, for the Chop Up family, for everybody watching who is not familiar with you. I'm gonna get into some early background. So,
Okay.
like, for the people just discovering you, who is El Fico and where does your story begin?
Well, El Fico as a person, as an artist, I would say, many, many moons ago. I think if Abraham Lincoln said it best, four scores and about 35 years ago, man, I I stumbled into music, like literally by just being around like Jamaican, and it's like Jamaica is a place of like many sound systems. You know what I'm saying? So, obviously, that's my background. And, literally what happens is wherever you travel, whenever you travel outside of, your culture and go somewhere else, you kind of like bring that with you. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So you find people that are like minded or close to the culture. Um, so one of my earliest exposures to music was through sound system. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? I used to be around a sound called digital.
Hmm.
Um, digital sound. It was owned by some good friends of mine, and I mean, one of them actually happens to be my partner. His brothers, they were older than us, so they had like built this sound system. The DJ's name was Devon. His brother's name was Junior. There was Wayne and Arville. So these guys had the sound system that I used to just hang around.
Yeah.
And they would be in this basement, and so like when I say every Jamaican in the city like would be at this house, bro. Their house was like a rest haven for like everybody, man. You see, it was like a car show, like it just was, everything was just happening there. You know what I mean? But the only thing that kind of lured me there was the music. And early on, I just like kind of always would be there, around that environment. And
Hmm.
then one day, I think one of his brothers handed me a microphone and was like, let me see what you got. And the only thing that could like come to mind when I heard the instrumental was a song that, I don't know if you know this group called Surface, but I think they were produced by Babyface. They had this hit song called "Shower Me with Your Love." You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah, yeah,
Bro. So I used to, like, my voice was a lot more refined back then, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And even without that specific training, I grabbed the mic and I just realized everybody started going crazy. You know what I'm saying? So in Jamaican culture, they start beating on stuff and, boop, 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 you know what I mean? Like, if you're not accustomed to it, you probably gonna be ducking or thinking they're going crazy. But that was just the praise, so I kind of was like, yo, I might be on to something. So like everywhere I would go, I would sing this particular song and I would get the same exact response. You know what I'm
So you had
saying?
to shower me with your love.
Yeah, exactly. But and I would sing it, over any beat that they would give to me, you know what I'm saying? And it would just literally work. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I get the same response everywhere that I went. You know what I mean? So, I was like maybe 15 years old then. You know what I'm saying? And literally went from like different places. Then we, as kids, we started like sneaking out and going to places that we shouldn't have been, like the clubs. And back then they didn't really card you an ID. You just had to just know. So, yo, me and him are para. That's my
Yeah,
friend. I'm with him. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
so you get in everywhere, bro. You know what I mean? So I would go to all of these different spots, man, and this it was just one particular place called Magnum Force. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And I had went to this is like a club, but like the owner was like an aspiring artist, you know what I'm saying? And like he had on like the big dope chains, and you could tell who was his girl for that night because they would be having on the chain too or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was like, all right, well, you don't talk to that one because she got on Magnum chain. So
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So like, when I kind of like figured out that, outside of that response that I got initially, when I started like traveling outside of my comfort zone and like going to like places like Magnum Force, like now I'm not just in my friend's basement, I'm actually around people that don't know me. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And what I realized early on was that like in Jamaican culture, you got this thing called the person is like a mic shark. You know what I mean? So like they always want the mic. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, so Magnum was the owner, he was the gate man, he was the bartender, he was the DJ. You know what I'm saying? But like everybody grabbed the mic, he let them do whatever they want to do. But as soon as every time I grabbed the mic, if he was serving somebody a drink, if he was collecting money at the door, he would just like run and stop and like just grab the mic out my hand and start singing or whatever. So I'm like, why he keep doing that? You know what I mean? So somebody was like, yo, because you're something better than him, bro. You know what I mean? So he don't want you like stealing his shine or whatever. And I couldn't understand that.
That sounds like the movie Five Heartbeats when they taking the mic from each other and singing.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So basically that went on, for a while, and it got to the point where we kind of like wore out our welcome around here. You know what I mean? Because it got to the point where he was just like blatantly like, "Yo, y'all can't even come in no more." It'd be like three people in there or whatever, and we like, "Yo, what's going on upstairs or whatever." It went from like him not charging us to him like saying it's a $25 cover charge to him like saying like, oh, it's too full to capacity, nobody, and it'd just be like him and like two girls up there, but he didn't want us to
He just basically, I don't like y'all at this point. I just don't like
exactly.
y'all. Nah, you can't do it here. Go somewhere else.
Exactly. So we had to find like other places to go, you know what I'm saying? But as time went on, I started to like hone my craft, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And got away from like I would still sing covers, but I would like put my own twist on them. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So I would like have a melody from like a hit song and then like start to put my own words to it. And that's like how I started to like develop a writing skill. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
So this story, this took place in Jamaica.
No, this was actually in Philly. Like we all came here like very young. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've
Okay.
been here for like, man, I didn't have any like knowledge of music other than what I was listening to, growing up, you know what I mean, in Jamaica. But like my music career actually, like I said, I stumbled into it here.
In
Music literally tapped me on my shoulder and was like, come on, this is what you're supposed to be doing.
Philly. Okay, so cool. So, but you were born in Jamaica though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so how did being from Jamaica, how did that environment shape your music and worldview?
Um, I want to say that, you know what I mean, like anybody that knows anything about like reggae music, traditional reggae music, it was always a music of substance.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even dancehall was a form of expression. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So like more or less, at the time, me growing up, it was a lot of social issues going on, elections and what I mean, things of that nature. So like, people that didn't necessarily have a voice, their artists was like their representatives. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I noticed that was kind of like the same with early hip hop too. You had the Public Enemies, the X Clans, and so they were like the voice of the people, and they were like the ones who kind of like stood up against the system. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So like, it was a way to express yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I think you know what lured me to the music, and as far as I was always embedded in the culture, I mean, you can remove the person, but the culture is something that's born in you, so it's going to stay in you. So I think ultimately that kind of like channeled my energy to want to express myself, you know what I mean, through music.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what exact part of Jamaica where you from?
Originated from Manchester, and
Manchester.
that's a country over in the countryside.
On the countryside, so like by Ocho Rios?
Not too far from Ocho Rios. I want to say maybe a good maybe 2 hours, two and a half
Oh,
hours. Yeah.
okay, okay. Wow. So what as a kid, like what was some of the hustles? Cause I've been to Ocho Rios and I seen just watching how everybody works. Everybody work. I'm talking about from 5, 6 years old to adult.
Bro,
Every,
kids,
it,
kids are like kids. In Jamaica are they like born grown, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you inherit like responsibilities like from a very early age. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like more or less, you know what I'm saying? Like you would have somebody like 3 or 4 years old, like babysitting like younger siblings, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Or like going out to, like you washing your own clothes, you know what I mean, from an early age. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so many different the culture is a whole lot different. You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of more or less gotta earn your keep. You know what I mean? Like it's kids that's like 4 and 5 years old that walk like miles to school, like with a group of other kids or by themselves. Like in America, sometimes stuff like that is like unheard of.
right, right. Like one of the things that I seen, we was on an excursion, and this guy, I guess he thought he could swim. No lie, it was the lifeguard had to be like 12 years old. 12 years old. I seen that little boy jump off that boat and get the man and drag him back to the boat and then just hop back up and stood where he posted up at. And I was just
That's
like,
great. Nah, that's
this
that's how they be, man. Like it's like you can hold a full fledged conversation with a 5-year-old and like it'll be sensible. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
even if they don't like have like school, but just like street knowledge and just like, the ability to articulate themselves well, is I think is a commonplace with just about anybody from Jamaica.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
So what first made you fall in love with reggae?
Um So it was two particular artists, bro, that I could remember, being here, like I said, around the time when I linked up with my friends or whatever. Um I was working in a family business, you know what I'm saying? My uncles had a store. And I would be in that store and we would they had what was cassette tapes at the time. You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean? Like, and then, I used to just go through them, because all of the music would come back from Jamaica, whether somebody like either sent it up or somebody brought it back. So I would always listen to like the sound systems back home or whatever, and like, I gravitated to that from an early age. And then
Hmm.
at one particular time, bro, I picked up this tape and I seen this guy on there, and his name was Shinehead. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
And bro, I listened to this tape, bro, and like literally, I heard this one particular song that was like, shine it, no all feature your better, no all feature shine. Bro, and bro, when I say I listened to it over and over and over, you know how Biggie said I let my tape rap till my tape pop.
Yeah.
And it was like my uncle's tape, bro, and I popped it. You know what I'm saying? And I literally had to like learn on a whim how to like dissect this man's tape. You know what I mean? Open it up and then mend it back together with some
Bend it back.
scotch tape. You know what I'm saying? Like, so anybody that's old school know, I performed surgery on the stage. I cut out like probably a verse of the song, but I put it back together, and my uncle he probably didn't even know because he was always
Yeah. Yeah.
trying it. And then one of my first live shows was that I attended was with a friend of mine who's no longer here. At the end of the Young Man video, you seen like a wall of like people that was instrumental in my career and people that I grew up with, and this we went to a Shabba Rank show, you
Okay.
know, and Shabba was here in Philadelphia at this place called the Urban League Center. And
Mhm.
he was the man, at this particular time, Kill a
Definitely.
Load of Girls, Ting a Ling a Ling, all
Yeah.
of the hits. So, the vast majority of people were there to see Shabba Ranks. And because he was the headliner. But it was this one particular artist, bro, named Sluggy Ranks. And he was just like from across the water in New York.
Uh-huh.
And bro, when he grabbed the microphone, like, I was happy to see Shabba and all of the other artists that was there, but it was just something about this dude that was like, yo, I just like, bro, I remember like this had to be like 30 something years ago. He had on like a velour suit with like some sparkles on it. And he got up there and he started singing, bro. And like everybody was like going to the bar to go do whatever. But I just was like so captivated by this dude to the
Yeah.
point where I like kind of like jacked his whole style. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he had this like most Jamaican artists have like a slur. So what we call a slur is like before you hear somebody start their song, all right. So like a slur is Sean Paul's "Dirty Yo," you know what I mean,
Yeah.
or you hear Mavado do what he does, or you know what I mean, or you hear like the older guy say "butter butter bye," you know what I mean. So that was like that's what you call a slur. So
Yeah.
he had this slur that before he sing any song, he'll say "eat, eat." You know what I mean? Like, yo, bro, I started going everywhere saying it. I would like listen to all his music and just like remix it. Sometimes I would just sing it word for word. But bro, I got to the point where I sounded exactly like him. To the point where they started calling me like Junior Slug here in Philly.
Hey, that's wild. What was his name again? His name was
Sluggy Ranks. He
Sluggy
passed
Rank.
away maybe about like 10, 15 years ago. But as we proceed, I got the opportunity to meet him. I got the opportunity to work with him. I got the
Yeah.
opportunity to write for him. You know what I'm saying? So, it was a dream come true for me, having that opportunity.
Oh yeah, that's dope. That's
Yeah.
definitely dope.
Mhm.
so so speaking of writing for people and doing music, do you remember the first time you recorded in the studio and what was that moment like?
Okay, so we do a thing called dub plates. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
Mm-mm.
It's like personalized songs. I guess you guys kind of like call it drops, but it's like a whole complete song that you're dedicating to whoever the DJ is.
Oh
You see
yeah,
what
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a customized version of, um, I got driven up to New York with. I drove up to New York with this one particular sound system called Thriller Atani. It was owned by a guy named Zonda and Twin Star. And John T was like the top selector in Philly at the time. And, at this time I was kind of like from sound to sound and people started to like get to know me or whatever. And, they wanted to record me. And I went up to New York, bro. And it was my first time like leaving the city, like especially on that type of mission. You know what I'm saying? So I went to like New York, and when I went to New York, bro, the first person that I seen in the dub plate studio was Shabba Ranks.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like literally starstruck at this point because I'm like, yo, I'm in the same space as him. You know what I mean? So I got into the studio and, did my thing. It was a cover over a track, you know what I mean? And people was digging, what I was doing or whatever. I didn't really get no notoriety. I was nervous as hell, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, that was my first time actually recording in the studio.
Oh man. How
Mhm.
did you feel about the finished product though?
It was dope, man. I mean, hearing it being played, it was a customized song, so only that particular sound would play it. But like, they were a big sound system in the city, so they would have events where it'd be anywhere from 200 to 300, sometimes even 400 people there. You know what I'm saying? And they would play it. You know what I'm saying? They probably wouldn't play mine like at prime time, but it would be a couple people there, and it was always good to be amongst my peers for to be like, yo, I mean that, that's me, I mean, like, so that was exciting, you
Yeah.
know.
So your career has spanned. I did some research. Like your career is like over a decade or two. So
Decade, decade, bro. We got 35 years under my belt. Type,
yeah.
I mean, don't let the young face fool you, bro. I've been at
like like a decade or two of music, but like when I looked on YouTube, I was like, wow, like
Mm.
bro did a whole lot. Shout out to Sherry M, dude. I meant to shout her out at the
Yeah,
beginning.
big
Shout
up
out to Sherry.
Sherry, wicked publicist. You know what I'm saying? Big up yourself, mommy.
Shout out to her, man. She was on me like you gotta interview El Fico. You gotta interview him. He'll be a good one for sure. And
Thank
so I went down a rabbit hole, but it brought this question to me because you spanned over so many decades. Like what keeps you motivated to keep making music?
I mean, you have your moments, bro, where I think music to me has always been a refuge. It's always been therapeutic. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I've endured a lot of situations in my life, you know what I'm saying, that, would probably like break the average person. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And probably would have broken me if I wasn't able to pour it into music. You know what I'm saying? And like every song that I've ever done, bro, and I'm being totally honest with you, has
Hmm.
been an aspiration or an inspiration or a testament of something that transpired in my life. Every single song. You know what I'm saying? I haven't literally put pen to paper in close to like 30 years. You know what
Wow.
I'm
So you just
saying?
walk in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I compose and I compose, produce, like do all of that in my head. And I have a vision of what I want it to sound like. And, before I even get in the booth. I was one of the first people to like walk around with like a whole studio in my book bag. You know what I mean? Like I had the whole setup where I would like just cut vocals. I'd be driving and pull over on the side of the road, cut a song. I have a 9 to 5. I would like sneak off on my break and like lay a verse and then go back to my station and then come back and lay the other, like it's been that way for forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think, the passion to and then I think my ability to touch people through music um keeps makes me feel as though, every day that I wake up I have a purpose. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? I've seen me say something to somebody through song, and it ultimately changed their life, you know what I'm saying, or change, a dynamic in a situation because of a song. You know what I'm saying? I think my ability to identify with the fact that music is more than just a beat, lyrics, a melody. It's also a frequency. And
Right.
frequency is something that channels a action. When you get into a car and before you drive off, you're gonna hear universally, no care where you go in the world, you're gonna hear bing, 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 bing. You
Yeah.
automatically know that you got to put on your seatbelt. You
Yeah.
know, so it's like music has that type of frequency. When you hear a sad song, you cry. If you hear
Mhm.
a song from 15, 20 years ago that your grandma used to listen every morning, even if she's no longer with you, it's going to bring you back to that moment in time. You know what I'm saying? People have music to work out to. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the music is life. You know what I mean? So I think as long as I continue to love life and as long as I have the ability to create, I'm going to do just that. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
think that's what's the driving force behind me doing it.
So now, full circle. That brings me to the Young Man single.
Hmm.
Um, we would definitely like to know what stories inspired that song.
Um, like I said, bro, I've been through some things in life, and one of them most recently just happened to be a Category 5 hurricane.
Mm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was in Jamaica when Melissa was there. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? And I sat by a window and watched one of the biggest trees in the yard fall. You know what I'm saying? Like, like uproot from the ground.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was there with family. You know what I mean? Like, I have, two sons who reside in Jamaica like they're my sons. Like I raised them like they're my sons. You know what I'm saying? And they in the same facility. I reside in the same yard in Jamaica of somebody who raised me like that I was his son. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So it was like, generational. Um, During the course of me being down there, I was kind of stuck for a while, obviously, couldn't get back. You know what I'm saying? And I'm around, one of, like my sons and basically he knew that I did music, but he didn't really know to what extent. You know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
obviously he's a whole lot younger than me. They listen to they on a whole different wave or whatever. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So they looking at me like yo pops or whatever, and I mean like they probably think I'm coming with the oh whatever, and I be like but he heard some stuff and we were like driving around in the car and like he was hearing my stuff and like he was really really like enthused by what he was hearing, you know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And then his little brother came into the car and he was like, yo, I want to hear this. And he like, no, like adamantly like, no, we listening to this, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So boom, I ended up going home or whatever, coming back to the States. um and tragically his biological father passed,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? And once we got word of that, um what transpired was, every just think about, my father passed tragically.
Hmm.
Even though I wasn't in the midst or even old enough to understand, I still had that vengeance in my heart, and like anybody would, if anybody that's close to you like passed away, like it's like how could somebody tell you that like you don't wish bad for the person that took them
That
away from
did
you?
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? Or even, in a state where everybody's like kind of ego driven, oh, I gotta do this or I gotta do that. You know what I'm saying? Like feeling like you up against the world and like you could take on the world, because of what transpired. You know what I'm saying? So, he decided that, he wanted to take a route that probably would have ended up bad for him. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? And obviously, naturally, instinctively, everybody was talking to him. You know what I'm saying, and telling him what he shouldn't do. You know what I'm saying? Like you shouldn't do this. Don't do that. Don't do that. But what I found out with young men is that the more a lot of them, the more you tell them that they can't do something, the more that they feel like they want to do that. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And you kind of like drive them away, especially when they that young and you really don't know what they're dealing with. You see what I mean?
Right.
But I had lost my dad, you know what I'm saying? So I experienced it firsthand. So, I was on a group call, a family call, and it was like a intervention in a sense, and everybody was trying to like get him because by that time the funeral had taken place. he had like relocated to, where his father was living at, what I'm saying, which is, in another parish. And they were trying to get him to come back home, and they had me on the phone and I really wasn't saying anything. And
Mm-hmm.
they were like, well, why don't you say something to him? And I just kind of looked at him because we were on video call, and I said, when you finish talking to them, I'm gonna send you something, and I want you to tell me what you think about it.
Yeah.
And I have like this app on my phone where I could like literally record, what I mean, like just on a whim. And I
Right.
started recording the rough sketch for the song, and I downloaded it and sent it to him on WhatsApp. And within like 10 minutes, he called me back. And he had like tears in his eyes, and he was like, "You don't know what you just did."
Mm.
And then he just like hung up the phone on me. So I'm like, oh my God, like, is he gonna crash out? Like,
Right.
what's going on? And I'm calling him back, and like, he didn't answer.
Mm.
And I'm like, I don't know what to make of this. You know what I
Right.
mean? But I was still trying to be positive. The very next call that I got was from his mom. You know what I'm saying? And when she called, she was like, what did you tell him? And I'm like, what do you mean, what did I tell him? You know what I mean? So I'm thinking like he done went off on the deep end now or whatever. And she spent the video camera around, and he was there. He came
Yeah.
back home. And it was a result of the song resonating with him. I mean, you might not really can understand the dialect or the deep accent, but the very first line in the song is, "I can't tell you how to live, but I can tell you how it is when
Mm-hmm.
you're living life as a fugitive. Before you cross over before you cross over the bridge into the world of badness, just understand that your heart has to be cold like a fridge. You have to
Mm-hmm.
cut all ties with everybody that you love, because man will come and kill your family out of grudge. And
Yeah.
if I show you these things and you still don't want to budge, then your coffin's gonna fit you like a glove. You know,
Yeah.
and it resonated so well with him that he's been home ever since, and and working. And if you call his phone right now, it's the ringtone on his phone.
Yeah.
Like, so I guess that's his constant reminder. And I said, if it could resonate so well with people from a whole different age bracket, then maybe I could get this message across on a wider scale, which was one of the reasons why I decided that that should be my first single.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And shout out to your nephew, man.
Yeah,
For
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because that's the one good thing about music too. Like, as far as us being like parents, uncles, dads, stuff like that, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times when we try to talk to our kids or try to talk to the younger generation, it sounds like we're preaching.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, like you said, they kind of cut it off. They cut it off and not really listen to us. And like you said, it makes them want to do the opposite of what you said. It
Exactly.
makes them want to just go and do it because they think that they know something that we don't, not realizing I used to be you. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
And just in any situation and any facet of life, it's not what you say, is how you say it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So like
Hmm.
you figure, um, if you're in the wrong, like suppose there's a situation between me and you, and you're in the wrong.
Hmm.
If I come to you and I'm like literally like, you dumb, and I'm telling you that, you're not going to be so receptive to you being wrong. You're going to be offended by the fact that how I came at you. So you
Right.
might not even take the wrong just because of how I came at you. You see what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
if I come to you and I'm like, bro, you know what? Um, maybe you should do this a little different next time, or if you did that, this is what caused that. You might even be more receptive to it, even as a grown man. So
Yeah.
imagine if you're talking to somebody that think that they know it all. You know what I mean? So you got to present it to them in a way where I feel like they could be receptive to it. And it brings me back to that time when we were in the car, and I seen that my music resonated so well with him. So God just moved me to say, yo, reach him through a song, and
Right.
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So as an artist now, how do you balance the storytelling with creating something that people can vibe to?
Um, I always keep my ear to the street, and like I told you, music is a frequency. So
Yeah.
you know, and in every aspect of life, you have to invoke balance. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? You know what I mean? And you got to be able to listen. You know what I mean? One of my hardest critics, like I told you, is a friend of mine who he's not musically inclined. His only affiliation with music is being around me and just being a consumer. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But he's the one to be like, oh no, that song like whatever. You know what I mean? Like and like I told you, he has been like my guide since early on. Like I told you, he literally forced me into music. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So like just listening to other people. I could listen to I think every song that we've ever heard that was a hit, as complex as easy as artists make it seem, and as complex as it may be, but
Mhm.
just think about every song that was ever a hit. It was a very simple song, something that a baby could sing along to. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So and I still utilize the same approach that I did with Young Man. I want to give you something that you're able to identify with. I don't just want to just give you something that what I mean, like I think you should listen to. I want to give you something that I think that you would want to listen to. So I'm always in that mindset whenever I'm creating.
Cool, cool. Man, I've been so locked in with you on this interview that I ain't even go to check out some of these comments, but it's kind of hilarious. Let me check out these comments real quick.
All right,
Man,
no problem.
shout out to my guy Mod. He said, "Man, the memories of cassette tapes." hey, because everybody had to perform surgery on a tape or two, man. They call look in the professional world of editing, they call that splicing when you go in there.
Yeah, man,
They
definitely,
call that
definitely.
splicing when you put that back together with the scotch tape, you know, put that
Yeah,
back in,
man.
put it all together, and it might skip a verse, a couple of bars, but we back up and running with this tape.
Yeah,
Man.
definitely, definitely.
Hey, look,
Mhm.
that's why we memorize whole projects because we had
Mhm.
cassette tapes. We ain't had
Exactly,
time to
bro.
skip. It had
Man,
to play all the way through.
when I started recording myself by using, the double deck, what I mean, you put it in, plug the headphone in, that's your microphone, and I'm recording, man, I got one of the worst beatings in my life for overdubbing my mom's Anita Baker Rapture cassette. She's like, oh, grown up and then all of a sudden she hear my voice in there, like she's like, what the hell is this? You had to take the tissue to put it inside, like the holes in the tape,
And put
to
the
be able to tape.
yeah.
Man,
Oh,
she
I
was
know she
playing
told
it,
you
man. I think it was like a cookout too. So everybody was grooving. Then all of a sudden they hear my little voice coming through.
out of all the tapes, you chose Anita Baker.
No, I grew to love her like after I really understood her music, man. But at that particular time, I just wanted to hear myself. You know what I mean? And I was running out of tapes to tape over. And when one of my friends was like, "Yeah, you could just put scotch tape over the hole, or just put paper in it, and you could tape over it." And I didn't really care at that point, but I cared after I got the repercussion.
Oh my goodness, that is a wild story right there. I know you'll forever remember that. Every time Anita Baker come on, you gotta remember that.
Definitely, especially Rapture, because I definitely got the Rapture.
That's funny. One Mermaid World said, "Young man is very deep."
Mm, mm,
Yeah, and
yeah.
Zony's own music. Put the fire emojis up there. One FECO, Def Dem.
Big up Zoni, big up Zoni, big up One Mermaid World, big up everybody, wherever you're watching from and wherever you're gonna be watching from. I've
No, for
been there.
sure. So is the project Lifetime out already? Or
Okay,
is it
so all right. So the story with that album is all right, so many, I want to say about maybe 10, 13 years ago, one
Mhm.
of the people who was, like I said, instrumental in my development, decided that he wanted to dabble in like producing. He was initially a sound owner from like way back when. And, probably around 10, 12 years ago, he wanted to like get into producing.
Mhm.
So he linked up with Scatta. I think his name is. Well, he's the lead singer for the group Inner Circle. So Inner
Okay.
Circle is most notable known for the theme song to Cops. Bad boy,
Bad
bad
boys,
boy.
bad boys.
Yeah, you know. So we went up to their house in Jamaica. I flew in on a Friday.
Mhm.
Like I said, this was like 10, 12 years ago. I flew in on a Friday and recorded a whole entire album with a live band from Friday to Sunday, and I was on a plane Monday. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? Like, recorded it, left. I was working, like interfacing with a lot of different people at that time. So at this time, I'm like, my career's taking off. I'm doing a lot of different things at that particular time. I'm doing mixtapes. I'm doing shows like everywhere from England to California, all over. And the album, for whatever reason, he kind of shelved it. You know what I'm saying? Like it never seen the light of day.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and we still talk from time to time. We would see each other, and he would always say he had aspirations of like putting it out. You know what I'm saying? And basically, I started this journey um, of getting ready to put out my album. That my label, that consists of myself, um, my partners, what I'm saying, Mickey and Leroy, we have a record label called Freeway Music Group. And
Mhm.
we have distribution through the Orchard. So we decided that, all right, we're going to put this album together. So Young Man kind of like started to get like everybody a buzz. I'm sending it to everybody. I'm sending it to everybody. And then boom, I started to getting like, real intricately involved with like the administrative part of it. So I get like if my song is played anywhere, I'm getting notifications on my phones. If it's any releases, if anything happens with my music, I'm getting a notification on my phone. So I want to say maybe about 3 weeks ago, I get a notification on my phone like, oh, new release. And I'm like, well, I know I dropped Young Man, but that been out already. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, and then it's like, new release, new release, new release. And then it's like, I'm like, 13 new releases. What? I'm saying that I'm like, hold on, like, so I look and I see Lifetime, and I see this picture of me like before the dreads, and I probably was about 26 years old in that picture, and you know what I'm saying, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, oh, hold up, he put this, but huh? So I
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure my credits was on there. And then, I gave him a call. We had a nice off the ear talk. And, we definitely, it's me. So, you know what I mean? I'm not shying away from it. It's definitely my music. And I'm saying, it wasn't the direction that I was planning on going right now with where I'm at,
Right.
but it's out, so like at the end of the day, yes, that album is out, but it wasn't put out by me.
Wow. I
Yeah.
didn't know that I was about to dig into that with that question because I was like,
It's all good. It's all good. It's all
because when I was talking to Sherry, I'm like, his project is coming out. Is because I didn't think you had a date for what we were working on, but that Young Man single is out, and
yeah.
then she sent me some other songs that's and
Hmm.
not for everybody else to hear, but I checked some of them out.
Right,
But I was
right.
like, wait, it's out? But
Yeah.
okay, so that explains that
Yeah.
confusion right there.
Yeah. So it came out, I think it probably been out for maybe like a month now or a little less, maybe going into like 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? There's some of my classic stuff on there that I was ultimately planning on revisiting, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Because I didn't know if he was gonna actually put out the album. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But at the end at the end of the day, it's still something that I'm proud of. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, at the time when I did it, my heart was in it. You know what I'm saying? So, and my heart's still in it, but it's just not my primary focus right now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, but
What
it's
what song in your entire catalog do you think was the most slept on?
mm, that's a good question. Nobody never really um I got a story for you, bro. This is the first time anybody has ever heard this story, like on any kind of public forum. Okay, so you familiar with Bounty Killer?
Yeah.
Okay. You familiar with No Doubt?
No.
You got to know No Doubt, bro. Gwen Stefani?
Oh, the band. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you was talking about a particular artist. Yeah.
Nah,
Gwen
yeah.
Stefani and No Doubt.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
Speak. Yeah.
Yeah. So they did a collaboration with Bounty Killer
Hmm.
called Hey Baby. And that was the biggest record that Bounty Killer ever did in his whole entire life. That
Hmm.
record was produced by the late great Sly Dunbar, who I had the privilege of working with for many years. He's
Hmm.
a part of the Rhythm Twins, Sly and Robbie. For anybody that doesn't know, from Grace Jones to Bob Marley to No Doubt to
Hmm.
um, I heard this little girl, her name is Maxie. Her beauty's like a bunch of all those anything that you've heard,
And if
like
I ever told you about
Sly played
Maxie,
on, yeah,
you would
exactly.
say I don't know what I know.
Sly is played on like literally a million records. You know what I mean? I'm not even exaggerating. You know what I'm saying? And I had the opportunity to be there when he was coming up with the drum pattern for the No Doubt and Bounty Killer collaboration. We
Hmm.
were under the same management team. Um, he played the track for me and he was like, yo, let me hear what you got for this. And I did 16 bars on the track. And
Hmm.
when I did the 16 bars, he was like, yo, we putting this out. I didn't even know that it was gonna be with No Doubt. I just knew I was there with a Grammy Award winning Billboard topping icon, from the world of music, and I had the opportunity to be there with him. And I was just happy to, put my voice on the track. My
Right.
manager thought that it would have been a better choice to put a more established artist on it. And he took my verse off of it and put Bounty Killer's verse on there. And the song went probably diamond, you know. Literally Bounty Killer didn't even know who No Doubt was at the time.
Wow.
He didn't even want to be on the song. And Jamaicans, we have this culture where, we kind of like don't like certain things. He was in this feud with Beanie Man at the time, but it was a cultural indifference where no doubt if you watch that video, they had like a naked man running in the video. And Beanie
Hmm.
Man was like teasing Bounty Killer about it to the point where he didn't even want to align himself with No Doubt because of that and because of whatever money situation. That same album, Lady Saw did a song on it as well called Underneath It All. And if you watch Underneath It All video, as a result of the feud between Bounty Killer and No Doubt, they said that they would never work with any more Jamaican artists again. And they didn't even put Lady Saw in the video, even though the whole entire album went diamond.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, but when I think that's even though it wasn't released, I think that was like one of my most slept on songs, you know what I'm saying? Because you had the ball in your court, you were my manager, you were supposed to like make that go through, you know what I'm
Nah,
saying?
for
Like,
sure. For
Because
sure.
no doubt alone would have sold the record. So at that point, they just wanted like a Jamaican flavor. So it really wouldn't even have mattered who was on the record. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they were already, platinum selling artists.
Man, that is crazy.
Hmm.
That's
Yep.
great. So let me ask you this. Let's say your verse goes through, your manager does make that happen, and that video comes out and it's a naked man running through there. Would it be the same effect? Like I feel like artists would have came for you in that aspect.
I mean, so I think it was a little different from me because my career started here. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, and I wasn't in the middle of one of the biggest feuds that ever like took place in a dance hall. I mean, the only thing that would even like rival that, them dudes was beefing for like 10 years. Like that
Hmm.
was our popcorn moment. Like Bounty would drop a song, Beanie would drop a song. You know what I'm saying? The only thing remotely close to it was the feud between Movado and Vibes Cartel.
Yeah, that
You know
was
what I'm saying?
crazy. That
Yeah.
was a crazy one. I remember that.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So, I wasn't in that environment. I mean, and my career, like I'm a true artist. So with my career starting here, I wasn't in the belly of the dance hall. I didn't grow up in Jamaica per se. You know what I'm saying? So I always kind of like looked, my approach to music was more or less that I was a world music artist.
Okay.
Like my first song that was ever released with me, my first two songs were reggae hip hop songs. So I
Yeah.
didn't start to do like dancehall. I didn't do my first dancehall song until I actually traveled to Jamaica in 2000. And my
Okay.
career started in 93. So I didn't become I didn't have an official dancehall record until 7 years after my music career started. I mean, I always had, stayed true to my roots and had like reggae flavor, but like I was doing music that my friends, some of my peers used to laugh at. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? My first song, my first official release was called the Donkey Song. My
Even you
friend
laugh.
like my friend like laughed me off the block, bro. Like, I came on the block like and it was a 12-inch. But that same Donkey Song was on rotation on every major station here in Philadelphia. I
Yeah.
was I was 17 years old getting $500 a show and I only had one song.
You laughing to the bank. They laugh you off the block. You laughing to the bank. Hey, that's how I go.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, I think that was like one of my most slept on opportunities and songs. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Man,
but
I
I was
feel
happy to be in that environment. You know what I mean? I was, at any given time, you got Maxi Priest over here, you got Lisa Stansfield walking through like, bro, I had been in the presence of greatness on so many different occasions and so many different places, So I think that prepped me for this moment in time.
yeah, no doubt,
Hmm.
man. I'm honored that that story has been told on the Chop Up podcast, and that
Yeah.
question was never asked to you, man.
Hmm.
That's a gem right there. That's
Hmm.
crazy.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Yeah,
then,
bro.
so that's
Yeah.
two things back to back. Like he's the manager, or who is that dropped the Lifetime album? That was crazy because the momentum of Young Man going around, and all
Yeah.
of
I
a
mean,
sudden
and
you just see
and
boom.
we know that it was a tribute to the fact that you can't front on greatness, bro. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, he wouldn't have spent his money if he didn't know I was hot way back then. And I was dormant for a while. I mean, like I said, we started a podcast. We done did movies in Jamaica. Like we done several things. We got grandkids now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was a lot of different things that we had done. So I think in his mind, he was probably like, well, he old, he on the downside of his career. So nobody was expecting me to come back with such force. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I think it sparked the fire under him that was like, oh shit, I gotta drop this now. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like,
I
is
get
it
it.
is it unethical? You know what I'm saying? Or, should we have talked about it? Maybe it could have been like a collaborative effort, you know what I mean? Where, I would, the focus could have been primarily on this album. Let me drop these two singles, then we could segue. That conversation wasn't had. I'm not mad at him. You know what I'm saying? He
Mhm.
spent his money. You know what I'm saying? He had faith in me at that particular time, and now he has a renewed faith. I mean, I'm not gonna say I would do the same thing, but like I said, I didn't even expect to drop Young Man after being dormant for so many years, and it debuted at number 38 on the iTunes charts in UK. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like we dropped it on the first. And remember, we felt like we didn't have a market in England, but obviously we do. You know what I'm saying?
obviously.
Because the song dropped the first, and by the sixth, it was number 38 on the chart in the top 100. That's past the halfway mark.
Man, and you said you recorded, I mean, not recorded, you performed in the UK before?
Oh, bro, I'm a fixture there. You know what
Wow.
I'm saying? Like my first time going to England was in 2000.
Mhm.
Um, Once again, my manager at the time, you know what I mean, the one who pulled me off of the record, told me like, yo, Jetstar was like one of the primary distributors of reggae at the time in England.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, I know some people that know Jetstar or whatever, and no, as a matter of fact, a producer that I was working with over here named Computer Paul. He used to
Mhm.
reside in New York, but he relocated to Jamaica. His cousin was a point person in Jetstar. So he sent me directly to Jetstar. You know what I'm saying? So when I told my manager, like, yo, I'm going to Jetstar, you know what I'm saying, to record some songs, you know what I mean? He's like, yo, man, that's a waste of time, man. Don't do that. And you know what I mean? Like they don't pay money for their songs or whatever. So you just basically gonna be, doing whatever. And I'm like,
Right.
I was that young man that if you tell me something, I'm gonna do the opposite. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, I'm there. I was staying in a place called Hammersmith. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And the two hoodest places in London is Brixton and Harleston. You know what I'm saying? So this lady named Louisa Mark, she was like a childhood uh like prodigy at the time. She had this big song, she was almost like Dawn Penn, but England version, an English version of Dawn Penn.
Yeah.
Dawn Penn is no, no, no. So
Yeah.
she had a big song back then. So she was like, "Yo, I'm gonna bring you to Jetstar." Once she told me I was an artist, because I was out there on family business. I didn't really go there to record, but Computer Paul had gave me a hookup, so I wanted to get there. She already had locked in too, so I'm like, "All right, I got somebody from up top sending me, and I got somebody down here that could actually take me there." She was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I'm gonna come tomorrow and bring you to the studio." So I sat there for the whole day. Here it is, the family done went to see all of the sites. They went to Buckingham Palace, Green Park. They went everywhere. And I
Yeah.
was sitting in the house waiting on this lady to come, and she never came. So I picked up the CD and I looked at it. Remember, I'm not from England, bro. This is my
Right.
first time getting on the train or whatever. I looked at the address and I got up and found my way to Brixton, which was a hood, but Alston is on. So I'm like down there, like asking people, like, yo, where's the studio at? They're like, mate, you're already on the other side of town. You know what I'm saying? So I had to like get back on the train, and then I got to Jetstar in Harleston. By the time I got there, I walked in the studio, and the guy who Computer Paul actually sent me to, who was in charge of the studio, was standing there. So when I walked in, he's like, can I help you? You need something? You good? I'm like, yeah, Computer Paul sent me, to meet Danny Ray. He was like, oh, well, I'm Danny Ray. You know what I'm saying? But, it's his cousin, so I'm there on the strength of him. You know what I mean? Bro, Freddie McGregor, who's like next to Dennis Brown and like all of the top reggae artists, was actually recording in the studio that day. And he was fresh off tour from Belgium.
Mm.
God was on my side that day because he had a sore throat. You know what I'm saying? So when I walked into the studio, Danny Ray was kind of like reluctant. I knew I probably would have had to wait till like the end of the night. He probably would have even told me to come back because, like I said, he was just doing it on the strength of his cousin. Um, but Freddie McGregor was like, "Yo, we don't kill champion, we raise champion. So let's hear what the youth got." So he
Yeah.
sent me into the booth, bro. And when he sent me into the booth, he played the track, and it was Mafia and Fluxy and all of these top engineers and top producers there. And I went into the booth and I sung the song. And when I walked out the studio, everybody was sitting there like, so I'm like, what? Y'all want me to do it over? They're like, do it over, man. You're not gonna touch this. One take, bro. One take. I'm not even exaggerating. And it was the biggest song to date of my career.
Wow.
It's been on the charts in England for 26 years. It's
And what's
called
the name of
Girl.
this one?
It's called Girl. Like if
Called
you look
Girl.
it up right now, it's there. Like it's called Girl. It's on a compilation called Run the Rhythm Selector.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you look at the bottom, Freddie McGregor is on there. He's the reason why I was able to get in the studio that day. And obviously, Danny Ray is the producer. His name is at the bottom of the record as well. But yeah, that song was my most notable song to date. You know what
Wow.
I'm saying? Yeah, like on a worldwide scale. And
Yeah.
I think it's a tribute to why young man want number 38 because I couldn't understand it. But
Mhm.
like people in England buy records different from how, we buy records here in the States or
They
even
listen
America.
different.
They really respect their legacy artists. So
Hmm.
people like Louisa Mark, I mean, like, that's why she had such stature. Remember, she was a childhood star, but she had that big song, but they just embraced people. So I think they were literally not saying like waiting for me to drop 26 years later, but I had staying power, on those charts for all those years, and then I had the opportunity to collaborate with artists who have actually collaborated with again on one of those singles that you have,
Hmm.
Apache Indian,
Oh
who
yeah.
is like huge in the Asian and British market. Like he sold 10 million records worldwide.
Oh wow.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
yeah,
And
I do have that one.
I
I definitely
literally
got that one
picked
in
up
the
the
clip.
phone and called them and was like, "Yo, Patch, I got an idea for a song. I'm working on an album." And within 2 days, I had his verse and the
Wow.
files
That,
and
that
everything.
just goes to show. And I'm gonna go to the comments because I think let me see who said it. Oh, Zony Zone Music. He said, that just goes to show that great music never dies. Stay
Yeah,
ahead of
man.
it.
Respect Zoni. Big up Father Zoni. hmm
Nah,
Yeah.
for sure.
hmm
So let me ask you this. What keeps you grounded outside of music?
Um, Family. You know what I mean? The love for my family and just life in general, bro. I mean, I've had so many people that were close to me who either have been ripped away from me or have unfortunately went on to the other side. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So every day above ground to me is a blessing. You know what I'm saying? And it lets me know that my purpose here is not fulfilled. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So that keeps me grounded. A lot is to be said about the cruelness that happens in the world, but there's a whole lot more kindness that's never mentioned. You know what I'm saying? And I've firsthand like witnessed that. You know what I'm saying? So the kindness of people and being kind to people, is what keeps me grounded as well. You know what I'm saying? It's wonderful. I have a song called "It's Wonderful to Be Loved," and it's so wonderful to be loved and to give love. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah. So When people talk about El Fico 20 years from now, what do you want them to say?
I can't believe this old dude like really came back. Nah, bro. Um, I want to. I believe that I made my mark. I mean, because like I said, if I had 35 years in this, and to this day, name day, people still are talking about me. Um, the only thing that anybody who knows me and who doesn't know me on a personal level can affiliate me with is music.
Yeah,
And I want them to know that it's a gift that was given to me that I embrace. Um, and with the ability that I have to be able to create without putting pen to paper or just with a mere thought of a concept or whatever, I know that that comes from God. So I just hope that they're able to get the message within in the music. You know what I'm saying? And that's why this latest journey that I'm on, I think I've identified my purpose, and I strongly believe that my purpose is to do message music. So I want them to know that um, there's always been a message in the music.
for sure.
Mm.
If you could give one piece of advice to an upcoming reggae artist, what would it be?
Get your business in order, bro. Get your business in order. We 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 become blinded by the ability to reach people through music that sometimes the business aspect of it becomes hindsight.
Mm,
So you
yeah,
got to curb your enthusiasm because the excitement of like people being excited by what you're able to do will kind of like make you just throw stuff out there. You know what I'm saying? And then you there, bro?
I'm still here.
Okay. Yeah, lights out. Now, you might just throw stuff out there and you literally don't have control over what it is you're putting out there. You know what I mean? So you gotta assess the business. Like I said earlier in the discussion, everything is was with balance. You know what I'm saying? You have to invoke balance. So as much as you have the passion for it, as much as you have the creativity, you must also have the knowledge of what it is you're putting out there because it's your legacy. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? That you're playing with. I didn't know that I had songs on the church for 26 years until probably like a week ago. Um, I'm not sure if he lost connection, peeps, but I guess I'm still on screen. So I'm not really sure what yeah. You there? Okay, I'm not hearing you. Um, Peeps, not really sure what just happened, but I'm here. Yeah, man, big up on yourself, man. Everybody with there and take the time out for come with our vibes. From the overall settings podcast to the chop up. You know what I mean? So yeah, big up Sherry, big up Mermaid World, big up Miss Bridget, big up Father Zoni.
hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You
Oh,
know
okay.
your background is going too.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
I was
okay.
just like, forget it. Forget it. I got to bring it back up.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I was gonna ask I was gonna ask you though, what is the you just answered the advice thing for the younger reggae artists,
Mhm.
right? While I was trying to get our cameras back on, but I was gonna ask you what's next for El Fico?
Okay, so next. Next month we have two singles dropping. We got one dropping on the 10th, the and which is Love Seems Far Away.
Hmm.
Very talented artist by the name of Kayvon Lewis. Once again, my good friend Mickey gave me some input. It was a concept that we developed years ago, just me and Kayvon at that particular time. Um, and Kayvon is the first recipient of the Rising Star competition, which is the equivalent, is Jamaica's equivalent to like American Idol.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like Jamaica's Idol. You know what I mean? Like they really big show. The recording artist gets a recording contract, gets a single, gets a video. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And some of them have went on to become world renowned. I don't think it was as developed at that particular time. Um, when he just won, because he won like maybe like 10, 15 years ago or maybe more. But he's singing on cruise ships now and stuff like that around the world. But he's actually the lead singer on the track. You know what I'm saying? And then we have Apache Indian on that track, and that's Love Seems Far Away. And
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a climate for what's transpiring right now in this crazy world that we live in. You know what I'm saying? It speaks directly to a lot of issues that we're facing collectively. Um, and right in between there on the 10th, we'll be dropping Boom Chicky Boom, which is
I'm gonna
so,
tell you. I'm gonna tell you. That's the one I'm feeling.
that's what's up, bro. That's
I ain't
what's
gonna
up.
lie. I played that jump back to back coming down to the studio. I was like,
That's
hey,
crazy.
hey. I
That's
told
crazy.
Cherry. I said, hey, I'm fucking with Boom.
That's what's up, bro. That's what's up, man. I mean, I purposely strategically did that because, like I said, Apache is very strong in the British and Asian market. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And with us, doing everything from the muscle, we gotta uh, make our dollars count. You know what I mean? Like, so we got to put them where they make the most sense. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So if you have a legacy artist who sold 10 million records, you know what I'm saying? Who happened to genuinely wants to work with you, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? And who's going to push this as if it's its own, you know what I mean, through his machine to his audience, that was more or less like a no brainer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he's already on the ground in England. That's where he lives. That's where he resides. That's where all his contacts are. So, it just made the most sense to do that. And we still have a song on the charts that we did 20 years ago. So this
Right.
is going to be something, that, we have. And then you have another artist who's in Jamaica. So you figure Kayvon is in Jamaica. I'm here in the States. Apache's in England. He got England and India sold up. You know what I'm saying? So imagine us working together collectively to push this record. Like,
Yeah.
I think I feel really good about it. And the message within the music, I feel really good about that as well. You know what I'm saying? So, I was slated to drop a single a month. But with the momentum that Young Man was getting, we ran it for an additional month, but it still worked out because I'm dropping two singles this month. I have one more single that I'm gonna drop after these two, and then ultimately we're gonna complete the album and release the album.
Okay. Cool. Cool. And just for those that didn't hear before, what's the name of the album that's being released?
That's currently untitled.
Oh.
I was initially going to call it All My Life,
Hmm.
but we have a Lifetime that's out right now. So it's like that's kind of like one in the
Not the
same. Like,
quotations.
like All My Life is a Lifetime when you really think about it. So
Yeah.
like, I'm tossing around ideas in my head. You know, I have so many. It's a collective body of music, bro. I feel so passionate about it. A lot of times, what jumps out at me, it might be the title of one of the songs, um, or it might be a ode to somebody that I feel as though is very instrumental, in it. I gotta bring it to me, but at this point it's untitled. But I have all of the music already. We just at the mixing and mastering and song selection stage right now.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. All right. So y'all heard that. That's to be determined. I can't wait to
Mhm.
hear what the new title gonna be called. So I got two more questions for you.
Okay.
So the first one is, what's three things that you can't live without?
Music. Um it's like, bro, that's a very tricky question,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna say that to say this. When you've lost as many people as I have, what I'm saying, one of the closest people to me was my mom. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I just lost my best friend. I lost a brother. I'm saying, I lost so many people along the way that I would think that they would want me to continue living and to continue doing what I'm doing. So, I can't say that I can't live without the people that I love, because if I was to go, I would want them to go on for me and carry on my legacy. You see what
Mm.
I'm saying? So I would say music is at the top of the list.
Okay.
Um, I would say someone to people to play that music for, so that the message can resonate. You
Okay.
always want a listening ear. You know what I mean? Always want to be able to heal somebody through music. Um, and life itself.
Okay. No wrong answers. So
Mm,
that's what's up.
mm, mm,
And that was different, and I appreciate your point of view on that.
mm.
Okay. Last question, and don't put too much thought in it. This is like a rapid answer type of thing.
Mhm.
Dance hall or reggae?
World music, bro. I mean, but if I had to choose one, I would
Yeah.
probably say reggae.
Okay.
Mm,
All right.
yeah.
All right. This pretty much wraps up the interview. Listen, El Fico,
Salute.
this was amazing, man.
Thank you,
Like
bro. Thank you. Thank you.
this
Thank
was this was good, man. I don't know about what you said about other people. Say you talk a lot, but I definitely enjoy
you.
back and forth because I don't like one way conversations. So
Right,
I
right,
enjoy
right,
elaborated answers when I'm asking questions. And
right,
this was
right.
amazing, bro. I
Thank
look
you,
forward
bro.
to actually doing it again. We should circle back around when your
Oh yeah,
project
most
actually drops.
definitely, bro. I mean, yo, it's gonna be and we both have platforms, and it's definitely things that we could do for each other. You know what I mean? We could definitely talk that up, to help each other grow. You know what I mean? Because at this point, man, one of the reasons why we even started this particular podcast is because I'm so tired of the traditional news and the way that it's given to you, because it's like literally meant to brainwash you. Like,
Yeah.
I like your technique, and it's the same technique we use. We do everything live, so it's like it's nothing. You know,
Edit it out. Yeah.
you're getting raw. You're getting
You're getting
everything
the
raw
raw
and uncut, man.
for sure.
So, yeah. So continue doing what you're doing, bro, and in any way, shape, or form that I could be of assistance in that area. I'm definitely there. And I know a lot of talented artists. One of them is on the live right now. Zony Music, and I mean, I think he's down there in Florida too. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like, and he's doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably somebody that you might want to talk to, and they're not so distant.
that's a bet.
Yeah.
That's a bet. I'll definitely tap in. I'll definitely tap into Zony's own music, man.
Yo,
This is the
thanks for
Chop Up
having me, bro.
Podcast. Make
Appreciate
sure
it,
y'all
bro.
subscribe to our YouTube page. The Chop Up Podcast on Instagram is also the Chop Up Podcast. On TikTok, it's the Chop Up Podcast LLC. And on Facebook, is also the Chop Up Podcast LLC. I'm Big V. We had El Fico on here. Y'all make sure y'all check out. Go down his whole music catalog. Go down it all. Go down the rabbit hole. Like we said, decades of music. So check that out. And then y'all let us know what y'all think in the comments, and make sure that y'all run these interview numbers up. Till
Remember,
next time.
stream, young man. Remember that on May 27th, which is next, what I'm talking about, May 27th, well, March, which is March
Mark.
27th, March 27th, which is next Friday. You'll be able to pre-save Love Seems Far Away. That's Kayvon, that's Apache Indian, that's myself. You know what I mean? You'll be able to pre-save that. It's officially released on April the 17th, and then Boom Chicky Boom is gonna be dropping. No pre-save, just go out and go get that on the 10th.
Oh yeah.
And
Right for the summer.
visuals. We're gonna have visuals for both of them.
Yeah.
We're gonna have visuals for both of them.
Let's do it. All right, man. Till next
Thank you,
time, bro.
man.
Much
Thank you for
love.
having me, bro. Respect.
And we out of here.
All right. Oh.